When I bought the old Bayshore Marina 3 years ago, I didn't plan on making enemies. The place was rundown. Half the docks were rotten, the boathouse roof was sagging, and the main gate hung off its hinges like a drunk sailor's jaw. But to me, it wasn't just a renovation project. It was my escape. I'd spent 20 years as a marine engineer fixing other people's yachts, listening to trust fund brats talk about their nautical lifestyle, while they barely knew how to tie a cleat hitch. The marina was my chance to build something that was mine. What I didn't realize at the time was that my land, all 5 acres of it, bordered a new luxury community run by an HOA. The kind of place with rules about lawn height, mailbox colors, and approved Christmas decorations. And at the head of that petty empire was a woman named Karen Halliday, self-appointed guardian of community standards. The first encounter. It started harmlessly enough. I was rebuilding Dock 3 when a white SUV rolled up to the marina gate. Out stepped Karen, wearing oversized sunglasses and holding a clipboard like she was inspecting a military base. "Good morning," I said, brushing sawdust off my hands. She smiled, that kind of polite smile that feels like a warning. "Hello, I'm Karen Halliday, president of the Bayshore Estates Homeowners Association." I nodded. "I'm Mark, owner of Bayshore Marina." Her eyes narrowed a little. "Owner?" "Yep," I said, holding up my deed folder like a trophy. "Bought it last year. Private marina." Karen laughed, the way people do when they're sure you're joking. "Oh, I don't think you understand. The marina is community property. It's always been accessible to Bayshore residents. It's on our brochure and everything." I chuckled. "That might be your brochure, but the county records say otherwise. This entire lot, fence to waterline, is privately deeded to me." Her smile flattened. "Well, that's inconvenient. We'll have to review this with our board." "Do what you gotta do," I said, going back to my hammering. That was the first shot fired, though I didn't realize it yet. The community access invasion. 2 weeks later, I woke up to the sound of kids screaming and splashing. I stepped outside and saw a crowd, maybe 20 people, using my docks like a public beach. Umbrellas, coolers, inflatable toys, the works. One guy was grilling burgers right next to my fuel pump. I marched over. "Hey, this is private property." A woman in a wide brim hat pointed toward the gate. Karen said it's fine. She's HOA president. I clenched my jaw. Karen doesn't own this marina. I do. Everyone needs to leave. Now. There were groans, complaints, and a few choice curse words. But they packed up. That afternoon, I locked the gate and installed a private property, no trespassing sign so big you could read it from a mile away. The next day, someone tore it down. I replaced it. They tore it down again. By the third time, I welded the sign onto the gate. And that's when I knew this wasn't a misunderstanding. It was war. Karen's crusade. Karen began her campaign like a seasoned politician. Flyers went out to every Bayshore resident titled, "Restoring Our Community Access." She claimed the marina had always been a shared amenity, historically open to all residents since the neighborhood's founding. Which was hilarious, considering Bayshore Estates was built only 6 years ago, while the marina dated back to the 1950s. Then came the harassment. Code enforcement officers started visiting weekly, citing me for unapproved signage, noise complaints, and unlicensed operations. All of it bogus. When that didn't work, Karen called the county assessor's office claiming the marina's property line was ambiguous. I had to spend a full day proving it wasn't. The final straw came when I caught her sneaking onto my property one evening, clipboard in hand, measuring the docks, for survey purposes. "Karen," I said, stepping out from the boathouse. "You do realize you're trespassing." "I'm gathering evidence," she said coolly. "For the HOA's case." "There is no case." "Oh, there will be," she said, smiling that same fake smile. The paper trail trap. That night, I called my lawyer, Rita Torres, who specialized in property law and had the patience of a saint. "She's bluffing," Rita said after I explained everything. "But let her keep bluffing. We'll build a record. Every violation, every incident, every trespass, document it all." So I did. Photos, timestamps, security footage, even copies of every letter she sent. By the end of the summer, I had a binder 2 inches thick labeled, Karen vs. Reality. Meanwhile, I quietly began renovations. New docks, reinforced fencing, security cameras, and, the cherry on top, a new electric gate with remote access. I wasn't about to let an HOA president dictate who could use my property. The party that broke the dam. The big blow-up came during Labor Day weekend. I was inside the Marina office when I noticed a convoy of SUVs rolling up. They stopped just outside the gate, and then, one by one, residents started unloading party supplies, tables, speakers, coolers, even a rented bouncy castle. And leading them, Karen, of course, clipboard in hand, walkie-talkie on her hip, acting like she was coordinating a festival. I walked out calmly. Karen, what's this? She turned, smiling. Community event. Family day at the Marina. Don't worry, we'll clean up after. On my property. She rolled her eyes. Mark, this marina is part of Bayshore Estates. You can't just claim it's private because you want to make a profit. I'm not claiming anything. I own it. You're trespassing again. She folded her arms. You can't keep us out. It's common property under implied easement. I cut her off. Implied easement doesn't exist when there's a locked gate, multiple, no trespassing, signs, and a recorded deed that names me as sole owner. She ignored me and waved her hand. Everyone, start setting up. That's when I made the decision. If she wanted a scene, I'd give her one. The lockdown. I walked back to my office, grabbed the remote, and pressed a button. The new electric gate slid shut with a deep clang, locking everyone inside. Karen froze mid-step. What do you think you're doing? Securing my property, I said. You wanted a private event. Now it's really private. Her eyes widened. You can't keep us in here. Don't worry, I said. You can all leave, as soon as the sheriff gets here. I pulled out my phone and called the county sheriff's department. Yeah, this is Mark Riley at Bayshore Marina. I've got about 30 trespassers on my property claiming it's community land. Could you send a deputy? Karen started screaming at her neighbors to pack up, but it was too late. When the deputies arrived 20 minutes later, they were met with a half-deflated bouncy castle, a barbecue grill still smoking, and a dozen guilty faces. The deputy looked at me. You got proof this is your property? I handed him the deed and a copy of the survey map. He nodded, then turned to Karen. Ma'am, this isn't WA land. It's clearly marked private. You and your group need to leave immediately. Karen's face turned redder than a sunset. You don't understand. This has always been ours. It's common property. The deputy gave her a long, patient stare. Ma'am, that may be what you believe, but the law says otherwise. Leave now or you'll be cited for trespassing. I swear, I thought her head might explode. The fallout. For the next month, Karen tried everything to save face. She sent angry emails accusing me of illegal confinement. She filed noise complaints again. She even tried rallying her WA board to sue me. But when Rita sent her a cease and desist letter with a full evidence packet, including photos of her leading a trespassing event and recordings of her admitting she had no deed rights, she went silent. The WA board quietly voted to restructure leadership. Karen was removed as president 2 weeks later. I thought that would be the end of it. But karma, as it turns out, wasn't done yet. The irony of the lease. A few months later, a real estate agent called me. Hi, Mark, I'm representing Bayshore Estates. We're looking for long-term dock space for the community's new waterfront project. I nearly laughed. You mean the same WA that tried to steal my marina? The agent hesitated. Yes, they've had some leadership changes. The new board wants to make things right. I agreed to a meeting, out of curiosity more than anything. The new board, led by a guy named Tom Barrett, came in hat in hand. Look, Tom said, we know the previous administration caused problems. We'd like to lease 10 slips from you for resident use. At market rate. I leaned back in my chair, pretending to think. Market rate, that'd be about $1,200 a month per slip. Tom nodded. We can work with that. Plus, I added, an annual maintenance fee. Security access cards for each resident. And, Of course, no HOA oversight on my property whatsoever. Done, he said. When the contract was signed, I made sure to include a special clause. Access is conditional upon HOA compliance with Marina rules, with immediate termination upon harassment or interference with ownership rights. Rita said it was the most satisfying legal document she'd ever written. The final confrontation. A month after the lease began, I saw Karen again. She was walking along the public road outside the Marina fence, glaring through the bars like a ghost haunting her old kingdom. She waved at me sharply. "You can't just keep people out of the water. It's a community bay." I smiled. "The bay's public. The docks aren't. Feel free to swim from the county launch 2 miles that way." She sputtered, red-faced. "You're exploiting residents." "Funny," I said, "I call it running a business." She turned and stomped off, muttering something about filing another complaint. The next week, I found a notice taped to my gate. A community concern letter signed by Karen, even though she wasn't on the board anymore. I called Tom. He sighed. "Ignore it. We told her to stay out of HOA business. She's not handling her removal well." That was the last time I ever heard from her. Peace at the Marina. Now, every evening, I sit on the rebuilt pier watching the sunset reflect off the calm water. The Marina is full again. Real boaters this time, not freeloaders with pool noodles and loudspeakers. Bayshore residents still use a few slips, but they pay for them like everyone else. And they respect the rules. Sometimes I see Karen drive by in her white SUV, slowing down just enough to glare through the gate. I imagine she's still telling anyone who'll listen that the Marina used to be ours. But the truth is carved in steel and paperwork, and sealed behind the very gate she once tried to tear down. Epilogue. The county meeting. 6 months later, I was invited to speak at a county landowners meeting about HOA boundary disputes. When I finished telling my story, a few folks came up to shake my hand. One older man laughed. "You're the guy who locked them in during that party, aren't you?" I grinned. "Guilty as charged." He nodded approvingly. "Good. Sometimes you've gotta draw a line, and weld a gate to it. I couldn't have said it better myself."